In Dominica, there is an extraordinary doctor. And on our fathers join a God. Hey, this is Sai, and you're watching SAT TV. Big up SAT, big up SAT, big up SAT.
Yo, gang to the Zilla, you're watching SAT Telecom, the people them choice. Hear that, Rasta.
Good evening, I am Shana Esprit and I am your presenter for today. Thank you for joining us for SAT TV News. Among the major developments, stop order issued on Layu asphalt plant, Barbados minister says CARICOM cannot rely solely on funding, Israel coalition talks to begin after election deadlock, and in sports, former DFA president drops his appeal against a 2-year ban. Details of these and other stories after the break.
It's only when we unite as one, then a lot more thing can be done. Stop this useless fight down, killing out your own brother man. Time we rise and all realize we have an enemy in disguise, standing right in the mix of you. Got to know who is who. This is Derek Rob Peters and you're watching SAT TV. That's what I have, SAT TV. SAT TV, that's the way to go. Rah! To the world. Ooh did ooh did ooh did.
Thank you for staying with us. Now for the details of the news. Secretary-Treasurer of the Waterfront and Allied Workers Union, WAWU, Mr. Curtis Tong, is of the view that WAWU is the union for the people. Mr. Tong made this statement on the heels of 4 major victories in bargaining on behalf of its members. The most recent and significant one is that of the status of the union in relation to a poll held to determine whether or not WAWU would gain bargaining status.
That we were the bargaining agent for the workers of the Roseau Cooperative Credit Union, but when there was this amalgamation into the bigger entity, the management in their wisdom felt it was necessary that we go through a poll again. I think they were hopeful that we would have lost the poll, but that was not so, because the workers have in fact restated their confidence in the Waterfront and Allied Workers Union, and as a consequence of the result of the poll, we gained some 70.7% support from the workers. Unions are required to get 51% in order to be accorded bargaining rights. We did much better than that, and I have to compliment the workers for restating their confidence in the Waterfront and Allied Workers Union.
A special thank you is being sent to Mr. Ashworth Williams, an executive member and the shop steward who was vital in ensuring all the members gave their support to the union. Having gained bargaining status, Mr. Tong stated, they soon will be meeting with the staff of the National Cooperative Credit Union, where they will discuss the question of provisions of the collective legal agreement, which will be submitted to the management of the NCCU upon completion. He said this agreement will be referred to as the Bible, which will guide the relationship of the NCCU and the WAWU.
We have completed and concluded 2 successful negotiations with the management of Harris Paints Dominica Limited, where we secured, besides other improved benefits, we secured a 3% increase in the first year, followed by a 3% in the second year for the workers of Harris Paints.
Mr. Tong also highlighted a 5.5% increase over a 3-year period for the staff of the Dominica Broadcasting Corporation, DBS Radio, besides other benefits negotiated. The staff of Courts Dominica Limited can also smile, as WAWU secured a 3% increase in the first year and 5% in the second, while there is a 4% in the third year. He says this shows WAWU's successful representation for the members at the highest level, which is a tribunal.
At the level of the tribunal, we, that is the Waterfront and Allied Workers Union, representing Sister Lysian Creed of the Garage Bar and Grill, we were successful in the representation in that we proved our case that she was unlawfully terminated by the management of the Garage Bar and Grill. And the tribunal found in our favor and required the management to pay compensation to Ms. Creed in that regard. So we are just going to be moving towards the implementation, because sometimes you have the situation where management can challenge the decision of the tribunal and they can take it to the courts for final determination.
However, he stated they are hopeful that since they proceed with a tribunal, the management of Garage Bar and Grill will just pay the compensation to the former employee. Mr. Tong highlighted that the success of any union is based on the confidence and support from its members, as the leadership simply use their skills to secure the best conditions for their members. The fact that they do all research properly to articulate the concerns of the workers has to a certain degree made WAWU the successful organization it is in the representation of workers in Dominica. WAWU boasted a membership of over 4,800, but after Hurricane David in 1979, this was significantly reduced. However, through a rebuilding drive, the membership is now in excess of 2,000.
There are a number of outstanding matters that we have resident in the Ministry of Labor for determination. Some of them we have been advised that they have been promoted to the level of the tribunal for final determination. So we still have a number of outstanding matters. We have also a number of outstanding negotiations. Some of them are with the Ministry of Labor. I could speak to J.R. Safans and Company. I could speak to Valley Engineering Sales and Services. I could speak to Subway. I could also speak to P.H. Williams. All of these, we are in negotiations with those companies, and we have not been able to resolve it because all of them, or most of them, are at the level of the wage package. And sometimes the management rather reluctant to sit and to deal and treat with us in that matter. But we do have the Ministry of Labor that can assist, and they can in fact bring the parties to the table. They cannot instruct as to how you resolve your matter, but they can facilitate the eye-to-eye, face-to-face contact that hopefully will resolve in the settlement of these outstanding matters.
Mr. Tong revealed that the long-term goal of WAWU is to be the premier trade union organization for the private sector workers. With that, these employees would have to be unionized and organized then to negotiate collective legal agreements on their behalf. He also added that he would like to see more employees increase their participation in trade unions. In other stories today, 3 more persons have been arrested and police are continuing their investigations into their involvement in the removal of contaminated codfish from the Fonkole landfill. We understand that they are employees of the Dominica Solid Waste and Management Corporation. The Fonkole landfill security was breached last Monday, where the condemned codfish was taken and sold on the local market. To date, approximately 65 to 70% of the condemned goods have been retrieved. General Manager of the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation, Mr. Bristol Lawrence, says he is thankful for the quick response of the police in catching the perpetrators.
The corporation is taking this matter very, very seriously, and we are continuing to caution the public to refrain from purchasing or the use of condemned codfish, which they suspect may have come from the landfill, and we are encouraging the media to help us into sounding this out to the public. We have since then made and have taken some actions that will prevent the reoccurrence of this problem.
2 earlier arrests have been made in connection with the contaminated codfish and have been sentenced accordingly. The corporation thanks the general public for alerting them to more of the goods that was found. Sanitary Landfill and Recyclables Manager Mr. Marcus Francis says, since then, the landfill management has taken steps to prevent this occurrence from happening again in the future.
We are excavating an area adjoining the bypass road with the landfill. We did excavation work in that area some time ago, but we recognize we perhaps need to do a little more without compromising the bypass road. So a machine is now on the landfill doing just that for us. We're also looking at improving the fencing on the western end in an attempt to prevent scavengers from entering the landfill. We are going to remind the general public through our PR that it is an offense to purchase condemned goods.
They will continue to enforce a no-access policy with regards to scavengers entering the landfill. The corporation is working with the police in making available any information that can help with the investigations. The corporation is making it clear that they are in full cooperation with the Environmental Health Department to make sure that such goods are disposed of properly when they enter the landfill.
Whenever condemned goods come to the landfill, they are disposed of immediately. They are verified by the Environmental Health Department. We proceed to the landfill and we dispose of the goods immediately. And we bury the goods. The case with the codfish is similar. The procedure was followed, like every other item. What happened in the case, as we mentioned last week, is that the people who came into the landfill went into the area where the goods were placed in the cell and retrieved it.
The condemned codfish is red in color, has a stench of cockroaches, black marks, and is discolored. The corporation is asking the general public to be vigilant and help get rid of all circulation items from the local market. In other news, a stop order has been issued on an asphalt plant operating in Layu, which is owned by French contractor Mr. Jack Gadakan Effis, after a huge fog of smoke circulated above that village on Friday, January 19, 2013. The latest plan of action was revealed by Honorable Kenneth Daru, Minister of Environment, Natural Resources, Physical Planning and Fisheries on Tuesday, January 22, 2013. Mr. Daru mentioned that when the initial plans to build an asphalt in Layu sparked massive protest action by the residents, the government, in signing a memorandum of understanding, ensured that all environmental studies were done. With that, on February 3, 2010, the Physical Planning Division then granted approval to Mr. Gadakan to set up the asphalt plant in the Layu Valley area.
Of course, we also recall the dissent shown by the residents of the Layu area because they felt that asphalt plant in that area was going to affect their health. I remember making a statement in Parliament as it relates to this asphalt plant. But of course, the government of the day felt that given the number of major or capital projects that were happening around the island at the time, and in the absence of another reliable asphalt plant.
However, after the resident raised more concerns about the plant, Mr. Daru stated that they had to take the hard decision after meeting in cabinet to obtain a stop order. They agreed that the concerns and the health and well-being of the citizens and residents of the area became a priority. He said the stop order will remain in effect until they can receive a concrete scientific data or facts to show exactly what is taking place at the asphalt plant. Mr. Daru stated that while this government prides itself on development, they believe that the health and safety of our residents should take the forefront in any situation.
And I say hard decision because, as I mentioned earlier, the contractor is also the main contractor on the Lot 2 road. And in addition, we have a number of other smaller road maintenance repairs projects going around the island. And even in my very own constituency, just last week we started road repairs, and I've been under serious pressure for the as it relates to the condition of this road. So these projects are going to be delayed a bit, but we felt that in the best interest of all concerned, especially the health and safety of the residents, more so the people of the Layu Valley, that we felt it necessary to to issue a temporary stop order till such time as we can get a scientific report, and also from the contractor, or the owner of the plant rather, and also from our own assessment team, who incidentally, which was set up to basically do the monitoring of the plant.
He mentioned a report from the plant owner who will have to indicate why the plant is emitting black smoke into the community. Mr. Darrow pointed out that the fumes exiting the plant should not be black and should not exit in such large quantities. With that, he said, the stop order is justified and should serve as a matter of urgency to the owner on the magnitude of the problem so it can be quickly resolved. During that time, action has to be taken to ensure this does not continue while investigations continue.
And if necessary, we'll be insisting on analysis, gasometry of the fumes. I know that this technology, we don't have the capacity here on Ireland probably to do the measurement of the gas content of the fumes, okay, but we are going to insist that somehow find some way to have this done, because we need to know that, we need to know and not just speculate. We need to have the hard scientific evidence that, hey, that these fumes that are being emanated are non-toxic to the residents of the area.
Once the relevant information has been provided to the government, Mr. Darrow says they will meet again in Cabinet to decide what other action they will take. Mr. Darrow added that the concerns of the people are serious and should not be taken lightly, hence the reason for taking such actions on the plants. Some of the projects that will be affected as a result of this stop order include Lot 2 of the Pawcasset to Melville Hall Airport Road, road repair projects in Petite Savanne and around the island. However, he says this will be in the best interest of the Dominican people, especially as it concerns the health of the Layou residents.
I would just like to let them know that, the parliamentary representative, Kelvin Darrow, has been very concerned. From the offset of this, I remember he calling me to express his concern and asking, that the ministry take some solid action, and I would like to let them know that the PALREP really has their concerns at heart, the interests of the Layou people at heart, because while people have been accusing us of being pro-development and disregarding the health of people, we all know what is going on, for example, in the Layou area right now, that we have shown as a government that we are prepared to take the right decision given the situation and given the facts of the matter. And as I said, we don't take decisions based on any emotions or any political emotion, whatever they may be, but we take decisions based on the actual facts of the matter.
The asphalt plant was given a 2-year contract to operate in February of 2010 to facilitate the construction of the Canefield to Melville Hall Airport Road. That contract expired in February of 2012 and was renewed for another 2 years, which ends in 2014 as the project has not been completed. The asphalt plant also provides asphalt to other government projects. In other news, on Wednesday, January 22nd, UNICEF officially launched Phase 2 of the Birth Registration Catch-up campaign. The Birth Registration Project is funded by the United Nations Children Fund and coordinated by FDCC. Senior executive in the registry, Ms. Debbie Baptist, says the aim of the project is to have the complete registration of all children born in Dominica. Ms. Baptist added that the project is a collective effort and is being undertaken in St. Lucia, Grenada, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The project forms part of UNICEF program, which targets the proper and free registration of all children under the age of 18 born in the targeted jurisdiction, that is Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dominica, and St. Lucia. And it is aimed at having the children's names of both parents, date of birth, as well as place of birth inserted on their birth records.
She said that they are aware that the birth certificate is the primary source document which guarantees individuals' identity. Permanent Secretary for Tourism and Legal Affairs, Ms. Claudia Bellot, made mention that in November 2011, Phase 1 of the project began. Ms. Bellot added There were several activities achieved, which included all the training workshops that were held for the village council clerks.
Through this research, we were able to identify all of the critical gaps and the weaknesses in the registration process, as well as the specific number of children who are without or a proper or incomplete birth registration. And so we embrace with much enthusiasm this catch-up campaign, which will comprise phase 2, and which will assist the registry in putting its house in order so that eventually it is well positioned for all of the reform initiatives that are ongoing, particularly the major project which we are embarking on and which is ongoing.
Registrar Mr. Ozzy Walsh presented statistics of the number of children that are unregistered. He says every single child, regardless of their gender, race, or ethnicity, has the right to be registered at birth. The denial of this right by acts of commission is the denial of a child's most fundamental right.
Registration of children under the age of 18 years who currently have no birth registration records at the civil registry. This will be the primary focus, and a rectification of information on the children's birth records, where the children's name is missing, will also be focused on. The campaign will last for a 3-month period and will continue in all 4 jurisdictions in the Windward Islands. Total number of children, research was done at the registry, and I want to take this opportunity to thank Ms. Barron, who's here with us.
The catch-up campaign is part of an overall regional process aimed at achieving universal and free and timely registration of children by 2015. In other news, the business community in Dominica is taking it upon themselves to learn more about the Caribbean Court of Justice. At the beginning of 2013, Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit said that he would be writing to the Privy Council to ask that Dominica's final court of appeal become the Caribbean Court of Justice. With the CCJ, the business community can expect better, quicker access to justice. The cost of travel is less, as opposed to going London, and time frame within which an appeal can be heard would be shorter. The business community is hoping that they are guaranteed accessibility with fairness, efficiency, transparency, and delivering clear and just decisions in a timely manner. To speak on the CCJ's future in Dominica is Sir Charles Michael Dennis Bryan. He is a Privy Councillor and President of the Caribbean Court of Justice. Sir Bryan mentioned that the CCJ is a functioning reality with a high performance record as a key organ of CARICOM.
It's really past the stage where people are talking about whether to have it or not. It has been in existence. It was in 2001 that the CARICOM governments ratified the agreement establishing the Caribbean Court of Justice and brought into force the treaty establishing the Caribbean community, including the single market and economy.
Dominica signed the CCJ agreement in 2003. Since then, CARICOM has implemented unique and transparent arrangements for this operation of the courts. Sir Bryan says the courts have 2 jurisdictions that it operates in.
When the court is sitting in its original jurisdiction, it functions as an international court, resolving disputes between member states or between individuals and member states where there's an allegation that there's a breach of the provisions of the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas. Then there is the appellate jurisdiction, where the CCJ replaces the Privy Council as the final appellate court of the Commonwealth Caribbean member states.
The CCJ serves to protect the rights and enforce the responsibilities under the treaty. He says this is of vital importance to the region and facilitates the vision of the CARICOM single market.
Since its inception under the original jurisdiction, the Caribbean Court of Justice has already delivered and settled 13 judgments and cases. And there are 2 cases that are currently pending. The court has addressed a number of important issues arising out of the CARICOM Treaty.
Access to justice is further enhanced by the latest technology at the CCJ. The British government has given assurances that it will not stand in the way of Dominica's plan to join the Caribbean Court of Justice, that it will agree to abolish of appeals to the Privy Council once a request is put before it. The onus is now on members of Parliament to place a bill on the parliamentary agenda so that Dominica can fulfill its promise to be a full member of the Caribbean Court of Justice. And finally, Dominican doctor Carissa Etienne was on January 22nd named Regional Director for the Americas of the World Health Organization by the WHO Executive Board, which is holding its 132nd session this week in Geneva. The appointment comes 4 months after she was elected Director of the Pan-American Health Organization by the countries of the Americas on 19 September 2012 during the 28th Pan-American Sanitary Conference. PAHO serves as the regional office for the Americas of WHO. The Regional Office for the Americas comprises 38 member states, stretching from the Arctic to the Tierra del Fuego. Puerto Rico is an associate member, while Spain and Portugal are observer states in the region. Dr. Etienne will begin her 5-year term as PAHO Director and WHO Regional Director on February 1st. In her acceptance speech, she says that she strongly believes that good health is rooted in equality, universality, solidarity, and inclusiveness. She has learned that universal health coverage is not only the best way to improve the health of every citizen in a country, but that it is entirely feasible. From 2003 to 2008, Dr. Etienne served as Assistant Director of the Pan-American Health Organization, WHO's regional office for the Americas, and from 2008 to 2012, she was Assistant Director General Health Systems and Services at WHO headquarters in Geneva. Dr. Etienne holds degrees in medicine and surgery from the University of the West Indies. This has been the local segment of the news. Coming up next, regional highlights.